Republican leaders continue to run away from Congress, right? The House of Representatives is still effectively shut down right now as MAGA Mike is refusing to have his members return and actually do work. This entire past week, the Republicans were at a retreat in Doral, Florida. That's Donald Trump's Miami resort, where they were just glazing Donald Trump and acting like everything was perfect. But beneath the surface, these MAGA Republicans were absolutely panicking. And then over the past 24 hours, they've done some interviews, whether it was on state regime media or other corporate news, that is just so bananas. It is hard to believe that this is even real and not some parody of an SNL skit. But no, folks, this is real. So I'll show you what some House members are saying, what some MAGA senators are saying and doing, and how they're trying to act like everything in this disastrous war against Iran that was started by Donald Trump, they're acting like it's going perfect and we need more money for this thing because this is what the American people want. Let me show you how delusional, out of touch, dangerous, despicable these MAGA Republicans are. So first, I'll show you MAGA Republican Senator Loomis. Now, the Senate is still open, although the House has not been back in session. So Senator Loomis is saying, look, we have such a well-articulated purpose for this war. So things are going great. Of course, we're going to throw more money. 50 billion, 100 billion, whatever they want. Blank check. We'll take away the health care from the American people. We'll make sure the American people can't afford to buy homes. We'll make sure the American people are unable to get jobs with dignity. What's important is throwing more money at the war that Donald Trump started unlawfully in Iran. Play this clip.
This war has a well-articulated mission. We'll know when it's over. And so I think the funding will be smooth sailing.
Wow. Then you have MAGA Republican Congress member Dan Mauser, who says, you know what? After everything I've seen with this war in Iran, frankly, Donald Trump's a genius. This has been the most ingenious, flawless war I have ever seen. This is what MAGA Republicans are saying right now. They are deranged human beings. They are zombified MAGA mushbrains. So what the hell are you talking about? This is a disastrous war. American troops have died. There are many, many American troops who have been injured. The Middle East is on fire. America, the United States, has absolutely destroyed our relationships with Arab nations, Asia, with all countries across the world. But sure, pretend it's going well. Here, play this clip.
What the president is doing, frankly, is ingenious. In the past, the way presidents handled Iran, when they threatened, we either gave them pallets of cash or relinquished the sanctions on them, enriching them, basically giving Iran exactly what it wanted. This time, when Iran threatened the U.S. and the world, stating that they were 60% enriched for weaponized atomic weapons, nuclear weapons, the president said, oh, really? This is what we're going to do. We're going to end this nonsense once and for all because you are a terrorist state.
Next, I'll show you MAGA Republican Senator Joni Ernst. She says, you know what? Small price to pay for freedom to send our service members into Iran. Get them out there. Let's put American service members there. Send them abroad. Here, play this clip.
But they understand the threat to the homeland. And if we want to protect Americans here, we have to send our servicemen abroad.
What about MAGA Republican Congresswoman Maria Salazar from Florida? She says, you know what's so great? That Donald Trump has great intentions. When you have someone like Trump with great intentions, he can liberate people. And that's what we do here in the United States. We're liberators. No, you're not. You are invaders. You are predators. That's what you are, you Epstein class. Here, play this clip.
Because Trump has good intentions. And that's what we need in the Western Hemisphere. Leaders that will liberate people for them to be free to pray and to gather and to speak and to vote and to travel.
Okay. Now I'm leading up to the crescendo here. MAGA Republican Congress member Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan, he's a predator. Jim Jordan covered up sexual abuse his whole life at the Ohio State University, now in Congress for Donald Trump. This is who Jim Jordan is. Jim Jordan goes on CNN and says, it's a small price to pay to send our troops to Iran for the greatness that will befall us all in the future. Here, let's play this clip.
But I think the American people have common sense, and they understand to stop this regime that for 47 years has killed Americans, killed Israelis, killed others, and killed a number of their own people. To stop them from getting a nuclear weapon is a worthwhile objective. And President Trump is committed to achieving that goal. And if that means prices go up for a short time, I think Americans understand we can live with that. But in the end, we want all that to happen, and we want it all to happen in as quick as time as it possibly can.
So you say we should be willing to live with higher prices.
Now, more from Jim Jordan here, where he's asked by the CNN host, so isn't Donald Trump failing by his own metric, where he said, if you can't negotiate with Iran, then you're a failure? That's what he said about Obama. Obama was able to negotiate. Donald Trump hasn't. What say you, Jim Jordan? Play this clip.
President Trump has done more than all the presidents combined. So, Carter, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Biden, Obama, all the presidents combined in stopping. He's done more to stop Iran from getting this capability than all those other presidents combined. And he is also doing what he said on this, because he said
by his
during
own
the
metric.
campaign, he said during the campaign he would not allow Iran to get a nuclear weapon.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. That is what he said about Barack Obama. Then he comes into office. You're saying, well, they tried to negotiate. He failed at negotiating, so he had to do the war that he said that he wouldn't do.
No, he said, no, Casey, he said he wasn't going to let Iran, the largest state sponsor of terrorism, get a nuclear weapon. And that's what he's determined to do. And that is the objective. That is the goal. And I think the American people understand that goal. We don't want higher gas prices. We don't want to have boots on we don't want all these things, but we also don't want Iran to get a nuclear weapon.
I mean, Jim Jordan is a true sociopath. There's no lie that he's not willing to tell. More from this exchange right here. So, Jim, you want to send your Ohio constituents to war? You want to send them to war right now, Jim? Jim's like, yeah, whatever. Whatevs. We'll do it. We got to stop Iran. We got to stop them because they're going to nuke us here. Jim, be quiet. Just be quiet. You have caused so much damage to our country. You are so utterly despicable. And why are you even chairing the Judiciary Committee when you're not a licensed lawyer? Can't we just get someone who's a licensed lawyer to chair the Judiciary Committee, please? Let's play this clip of Jim Jordan.
So you say we should be willing to live with higher prices. Would you say to your constituents in Ohio that this is worth sending their sons and daughters to the Middle East, potentially to put their lives on the line to achieve what you just laid out?
Do we want this regime and all they have done, the killing of American servicemen over the last 47 years, the killing of Israelis, the killing of others, the taking of thousands of lives of their own, do we want them to have a nuclear weapon? I mean, I think the Americans say that is something we need to stop. President Trump, and you can go listen to what
American boots on the ground in Iran to stop it.
We need, again, no one's talking about that. What they're talking about is reaching the objective of making sure this regime doesn't get nuclear capability.
But
and I would say
would
this.
you go to achieve that objective?
President Trump makes decisions. President Trump makes decisions that are in the best interest of our country. President Trump does what he said he would do. He told the American people he'd secure the border. He did. He told them he'd cut taxes. He did.
He told them that he wouldn't start any new wars.
He'd make sure this regime didn't get nuclear capability, and he's making sure that is going to happen, that they do not get that capability in any way, shape, or form, because that would be, as Senator Graham said, what I think would be devastating for the price of oil and for all kinds of other reasons. That would be a bad outcome.
Okay, I've got some important news, so just give me a quick minute to break it down. Trump's war against Iran is creating a massive energy crisis right now, and we are in a much worse place than we would be if Trump wasn't so hostile to clean energy. Since Trump took office, he's taken a sledgehammer to clean energy initiatives. He's been closing clean energy plants and canceling projects, and the negative effects of these moves extend far beyond the environment itself. We're talking thousands of jobs, but perhaps most importantly at this moment, we're talking about the destruction of a clean energy economy that would protect families from foreign oil shocks. Now that Trump has started this war, oil prices are skyrocketing, and so is the price of gas. The Wall Street Journal is calling it the most severe energy crisis since the 1970s. Now, imagine if the US had a resilient clean energy infrastructure that made us less reliant on fossil fuels. Prioritizing clean energy isn't just good for the environment, it's strategically smart. Trump has discussed getting rid of these clean energy programs as part of his America First agenda, but in reality, it's the definition of putting America last. As always, we want to hear from you. Do you think the US should be prioritizing clean energy? Are your gas bills or other energy bills going up? Sound off now in the comments. Make some noise. I'm going to be reading all the comments. Okay, Ben, back to you.
And we hear from the NATO ambassador, Matthew Whitaker. Matthew Whitaker's asked about Russia helping Iran, which we all know to be the case. We know it's true. Putin says it publicly right now. That's the alliance. It's not a complicated geopolitical. I don't need to go into a skiff. I don't need to go into a sensitive compartmented information facility to know what is public record. That the alliance right now is Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, and other countries allied with Russia. That's what it is. They're helping Iran right now. We know that. So what say you, NATO Ambassador Matthew Whitaker? Play this clip.
Ambassador, Russia reported giving Iran specific advice on drone tactics. The Russians seem to be really helping the Iranians. The Russians seem to be winning in this situation so far. Would you dispute that?
Well, a couple things is, there's no indication that we can talk about publicly that the Russians are participating with the Iranians. And in fact, Steve Witkoff has said that the Russians told him that they are not. But even if they are, it's certainly not helpful because the Iranians are getting their butts kicked by the United States.
Oh, they're getting their butts kicked. Their butts kicked? That's the language. They're not getting their butts kicked. Is the United States bombing Iran with Israel very hard? Yes. Are they getting their butts kicked? No. You want to know why they're not getting their butts kicked, Whitaker? And all you Trump regime sycophants at Donald Trump? They still have significant military capabilities. They have unmanned vessels. They have their Shahed drones. They are utilizing them with success every day in terms of striking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. They're using them to strike buildings in Arab nations, oil depots. They are causing chaos in the region. The Iranian regime is still in place. So for those reasons, in fact, there is a more extreme regime with Mojaba now in power. But okay. But I guess the line from these MAGA sycophants is short-term pain for long-term gain. Isn't that what you all were saying about Trump's tariffs against the world? That's your line. Donald Trump promised that on day one, things would be more affordable and America would be out of all the wars. There would be peace in Ukraine and things would be great. We would have a manufacturing boom. Things would be incredible. Well, that hasn't happened. Quite the contrary. Trump is in more wars than ever. I mean, remember what he's talking about, the Nobel Peace Prize? I don't think anyone's been more against the cause of peace than Donald Trump ever. I mean, Trump starting wars everywhere, him and Netanyahu. Anyway, short-term pain, long-term gain, right? Chris Wright, play this clip.
So we're going to release 172 million barrels and swap it for more than 200 million barrels that'll be back in the reserve within a year. So ultimately, this is going to help us fill the reserve, but we need the oil in the short term for a short-term pain for long-term gain.
And this is their line. Congressman Jimenez, this is what we need. Short-term pain, long-term gain. We suffer now and things are going to be great in the future. Here, play this clip.
4 to 6 weeks. if it takes that long, presumably the price of oil is going to stay up there and our gas prices are going to stay up there as well. The president may take a political hit from this.
Look, you got to pay the price. I mean, in order to have long-term stability and in oil and long-term stability not only in the Middle East but around the world, you got to pay the price. And if it takes 4 weeks, then so be it. If it takes a little bit longer, then so be it.
Look, we hear from Chris Wright the one more time, Donald Trump's energy secretary. And he was asked by Dana Perino on state regime media. He was asked, so what was up with like you posting on X that the Navy is providing escort ships for boats in the Strait of Hormuz? That's not true. And then Chris Wright's like, yep, I made a boo-boo. I made a mistake. We manipulated the markets to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. And no, but now Donald Trump's position is don't be chicken. Don't be a panicking. Dude, Donald Trump literally put out a statement. I'll show you what Chris Wright said in a second. Donald Trump's statement to Brian Kilmeade of Fox. Speaking on the difficulties facing vessels wanting to traverse the Strait of Hormuz, Trump suggested they should go through the Strait of Hormuz and show some guts. Show some guts, damn it. There's nothing to be afraid of, Trump said. They have no Navy. We sunk all their ships. Do it. Do it. Okay, well, all of the ships are being struck, you idiot. I mean, we tell him to go through the Strait of Hormuz, and then you end up resulting in these ships being destroyed. You're just a moron. Here's what Chris Wright has to say. Here, play this clip.
Question for you is, there was the X post the other day that came from the Department of Energy that talked about a ship safely going through the Strait of Hormuz. That wasn't true. It caused a lot of market disruption. People lost some money. That tweet was deleted. As the Secretary of Energy, what have you done to make sure that that doesn't happen again? Are you going to personally approve those posts?
Yes, I will. And yeah, that is a miscommunication in our department. I take full ownership of that as the person in charge of the department. Very unfortunate. It will not happen again.
Secretary Chris Wright, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Dana.
And then finally, Trump's new NASA administrator, Jared Isaacman. Jared Isaacman says, we have the best president ever. And he loves space. He loves space. Okay, he loves space. What else does he love? Does he love playing with balls? What does he like doing? Does Donald like playing with his little figurines? Does Donald Trump like looking at his picture books? What does Donald Trump like? What does he like? Here, play this clip.
Is space becoming the next battlefield? And is America ready for that?
It's already there, but I will say that space is already the ultimate high ground. It is a battlefield. I will just say we have the best president, loves space, understands the importance of space. It's why he created the Space Force in his first term. It's why he created the Artemis program. It's why he created the Artemis Accords. And it's why on my first day in the job, President Trump signed the executive order on American superiority in space.
There you have it, everybody. These are ridiculous human beings. These are truly ridiculous all of them. Ridiculous human beings. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thank you for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.